Okay, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. I am transmitting from the Sunshine State, Florida. My name is Anna Yogan. I am a volunteer for Reaprendência International. And today I have the honor and the privilege to talk to Amaury Pontieri, who I had the honor of being a student. So, Reaprendência is an institution dedicated to re-educational and personal evolution, including but not limited to self-research, parapsychism, and bioenergies. Amaury Pontieri has a degree in journalism and a postgraduate degree in business management. He is an education entrepreneur and one of the founders of the Bertoni School Network in Iguaçu Falls. Currently, he volunteers, teaches, and coordinates the School of Communicology of the International Association of Conscientiological Communication, Communicons. So without further ado, please, Amaury, let us know how we can make time work for us or instead of against us.
Hello, Anna. Nice to speak with you. It's an honor for me. It's an honor, and I am very pleasure to talk with you guys today of Rea Prudentia and all our volunteers and people all over the world. Thank you, and it's a pleasure also to speak of a subject, a matter that I love to study. I study for long time. That is time, productivity, and things that are engaged in our lives, in things that make us to work better, to make assistential tasks better. And we are going to talk about this today. Well, so the theme of our speech today is our webinar is Consciential Productivity, or how to make time work for us and not against us. That is a very common thing that it's present even in our daily conversation. The time is against us. We are running out of time. We are running against time. It's a kind of enemy for all of us. But it's don't have to be this way. Don't have to be like this. We are going to speak there. That is a common mistake in this, and it's a mindset that it's possible to change. So we are going to talk about this today. First of all, I would like to make a brief context of this webinar. The subject is a conscientiology webinar. It's a conscientiology approach. So it's under the scientific field of conscientiology that we call parachronology. Chronology, everybody knows, is the study of time and its implications. And parachronology in the field of conscientiology is when you study time not only in our dimension, in our daily dimension, our physical or intraphysical dimension, but also considering the multiple dimensions of existence. That is, not only the dimension that we can hear or see or touch with our five senses, but other dimensions also that we experience, for instance, before we were born or after we die. This period of existence that we call biological period of existence or intraphysical period of existence is only one of periods of our existence as consciousness awareness. But not the only one. That is one thing that conscientiology studies: our multiple lives, our multiple uh, experiments or existence, not only in this dimension but in other dimensions. And this, when you took the or when you take the period that uh, add not only this period, biological period, but also também the period when you are in other dimensions, you call this study holorhizomatics. Holo as the whole, the the set of rhizomatics that births is something like that. So we are talking today about a parachronology study or research. Okay. Uh, then we're starting. We're going to start as speaking uh, the the concept of consciential productivity is the same of time management. You can say that it's the same of time management or time utilization, time use, or a proposal parachronological intelligence. Let's see in more detail. Time utilization is the action, effect, or technique of the lucid intraphysical consciousness, wisely applying the hours of human life focused on consciential evolution, calculated in a cosmoetical manner involving self proexis, self prioritization, and self parapsychism. This is a concept or a definition that we found in Encyclopedia of Conscientiology. Consciential productivity has to do with useful routines, time organization, evolutive time, time that we dedicate to our evolution and the evolution of others who work and live with us. That's the primary concept that we are going to work here. So sometimes I will talk about consciential productivity, sometimes I will talk about parachronological intelligence or even time utilization, time management. All these things are synonyms. Okay. Uh, all right, and this has to do also uh, with opportunities, to use an opportunity, to uh, see an opportunity and take this opportunity, not to let it pass. And in terms of opportunities, there've never been so many opportunities for acquiring knowledge, practicing interest systems, or self-developing intelligence to carry out evolutionary tasks. This is very important to know. Um, I don't know, Anna, if I'm my image is stuck. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Let
It
me,
seems it seems that my slides are okay,
okay.
but no, my
Oh,
let me,
yes, your image is not.
yeah, it's stuck.
Let me take you out and put you again. Let's see how it goes. Now it's not going.
It's strange. Now we can't see anything, but it's
Let's
okay.
see. Maybe we can change the format here.
Mm, it's okay. Let's go. Let's move forward. And okay. Oh, here we are. Very good. Let's see. Okay. So I was talking about opportunities, and I was saying that there have never been so many opportunities for acquiring knowledge or self developing multiple intelligences or carrying out evolutionary tasks. Uh, Indeed, we have many online free courses about virtually everything. You can be a gastronomical chef, for instance, to learn and make any food you like, any kind of uh, culinary, or you can make any uh, online language courses, or you can learn. You could learn a new language. Virtually, you can today you can learn everything through the internet, and there and at low cost or no cost at all. You can develop your intelligence, all kind of intelligence. As we see in this slide, uh, even make some physical exercises. There's a guy over there making exercises in front of a tablet or a notebook. And this is possible today. So, and make inter-resistance. For instance, uh, you can talk with psychologists, even with medical doctors. You can take care of your health through the internet also. Of course, there are some things that cannot be substituted by presential activities, of course. But for learning issues, for developing issues, you can today make many things in your own home. That's it's very important, and that's a technological uh, conquest, a technological achievement. Anna, we have people are free to once we are online and
Yes, we have
within a live activity,
questions.
people are free
And
to
I
ask
come
questions.
to make a point that, like you said, we have so many opportunities and so much information kind of being offered online that we need some type of prioritization to kind of choose what is really important and what is not. Whenever I thought about time management, I learned a little bit of it with that guy, Stephen Covey, that I used to say, oh, just make a map.
Yes, one
Set
of
it
the technique,
before.
the urgence importance matrix technique. We are going to talk about
Yes,
this in a few
yes.
minutes. Yes, yes. Stephen Covey's is a classic of time management.
Hmm. And what people want to know is that some people consider that our civilization is getting worse uh, through the human history because we never had so many diseases, violence, wars. What do you think about it?
Okay, I do not agree with this. I think,
Hmm.
of course, there are many wars and many disease because there are too many people. Okay, that
Hmm.
we don't have in our history uh, as many people as we have today. But certainly, we are going uh, to surpass this. This is a kind of crisis that we are going through, and we are we have to consider that things are evolving for better. So in the past, we don't have, for instance, means to treat the diseases. Now we have too
So many
many.
possibilities, right?
Yes,
I think your
your
next slide might have something to do with it, right?
antibiotics technology and medical technology. Uh, in few years ago, 100 years ago, we have an infection and we could die because we don't have antibiotics. So today we have many means to treat this. And of course, we have some consciential issues. We have so many biotechnology and medicine technology, but we don't distribute this equally. But that is another question.
Right,
We have the means. For instance, food also. We break records after records of food production through the food technology, the agricultural and industrial technology. So we have the means, but now we live in a crisis because we have to distribute this better.
right. There is still a lot of inequality in the world, no doubt about it.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So, but for instance, you see a graphic of our life expectancy. For instance, at birth, you see that in the year 800s, for instance, the world life expectancy, it was 31 years in the beginning of the 19th century. And nowadays, 120 years uh, after that, we have more than the double of the life expectancy, 73 years last year. So this is important. We are living more, and not only quantity. We are living better also with quality, as I was saying. We have basic education. We have food, more food. We have abundance of resources. Uh, we have technology that help us to live better. So we are living more and we are living better. That's a fact. Of course, we have inequalities. If you see for instance, the graphic of life expectancy in the different continents, there are some differences. In Africa, for instance, is not the same life expectancy. You don't have the same life expectancy as we have in Europe or in Americas or in Oceania, for instance. So we have work to do. We have tasks to do. But as a matter of fact, we are living, and so what we are living more and better. So what we are doing with this time that we have. Uh, it is something that is productive. We are living to make good things, evolutive things, or we are living more and not make the appropriate use of this time that we have now. That's a thing that we have to think. So consciential productivity, we can make the approach of consciential productivity as a meta intelligence. What is it? For instance, you can say parachronological intelligence is a meta intelligence. That is an intelligence capable of developing other intelligences. Uh, Therefore, it's an important task for the individual to make better use conscience as intraphysical consciousness, our consciousness in the biological period of his experiences. It's an important task for us. Make better use of the available time, uh, improving self productivity while acting with greater maturity. That's an important task. And we have some keywords here: maturity, self productivity, uh, available time, all things that we have to think more, to think about it. I pick up an example that's a very interesting story, and then and it's a good thing for all of us to see and to think about our productivity. We have here in this slide a photograph that it was a very disseminate all over the world. That it's a young boy, a 9-year-old Philippine boy, studying, make some domestic task, domestic lessons. That boy is Daniel Cabrera. At the time, in 2015, he was 9 years old. And we can see that he is on the street in the parking lot of McDonald's studying because at this house at that time they don't have their family don't have light night light. He used to live in a in a place that his mother was working, and at that night they a commercial place. So at that night they shut off all lights. So this boy uh, used to go to the parking lot of McDonald's and make use of the lights of that establishment that he was there for all night long. And one medicine student, a young woman, was walking in the streets and saw that scene and take a picture and publish it and post it in his social media. And then this photograph make a huge success. It was a huge success all over the world. It was shared in more than 7,000 profiles in social media, Facebook, mainly Facebook. And the boy, after that, received many help. He received some money, received a chair and a table to study. It was help not only for him but for his family also. And we saw 4 years later his diploma of graduation in the elementary school and the graduation party that was made inside that same McDonald's branch. So that is interesting. He used it to be out of McDonald's, and at his graduation party, McDonald's made a graduation party, and the Philippine uh, branch of McDonald's help him through this his foundation. But it's not important what happened then, uh, but the value for this boy of the study. The study is a value for this boy. Uh, Even so that he make use of the street light to study. That's a thing for our reflection. That's a thing that we have to think about it, because that's a very strong example of prioritization of the intelligent use of our time, or even the productivity, consciential productivity, uh, because he's changing his life and he's changing the life of all family doing that. Uh, any questions, Anna?
Okay, we have a question here. How to deal with the dispersiveness of the social media uh, era? I mean, like,
Yes,
yeah, it's a lot of a question of prioritization, as you already said, right?
yes. Dispersiveness is a very important thing nowadays in the social media era, in the internet era, because we have so many, too much information, so many things to see and to consider, and we don't know how to deal with this big or this huge amount of information that reach us. So we have to use my hint, we have to use techniques. We have to learn how to deal with that, and that involves planning. That involves knowing what is important to me, and making the separation, or making the difference of what is important to me and what is not important to me. And there are techniques to do that, and we will talk about this in a few minutes when we
Perfect.
are talking about attention management, not just time management, but attention management also.
Okay,
Okay.
perfect. Thank you.
Uh, Time and self research, or time and self knowledgement. We have a quote from the German sociologist Norbert Elias that I think is very rich in this idea. When we examine the problems related to time, we learn about men and about ourselves. Many things that we did not discern clearly before. So this is important, and that's a message that I would like to address to all of you. Uh, Studying time is a very useful tool to study ourselves. That is the quote of Norbert Elias, and I agree strongly with it. It's very important to know that studying time is studying about yourself, is studying about myself, is studying about men and women, like he said. It's very interesting, this concept, and we are going to prove this to you. For instance, during the 2020 pandemics of COVID-19, many people found themselves in lockdown situations, in remote work. Uh, so they are forced to reflect on their use of the time. Many people even go to some kind of mental disorder to when he was forced uh, to live and to uh, study about himself, to live and to get some time for themselves. So this is interesting to see how time and pandemic and other individuals experience traumatic situations involving unexpected uh, death of their relatives and their friends, or even near-death experiences. For instance, uh, being confronted with the limited time on their lives, or in their biological periods of consciousness awareness. For instance, I brought up my own example. That photo that you see there, it's my photo. I lost 8 days of my life being in a induced coma in a hospital because I took COVID and I almost died, and then but it was 8 days lost. But after that, the reflections and the changes that made in my self image, in my self experience, in my self development, it was very useful. I learned for the first. It was the worst crisis of my life. This photo is a very strong photo for me because it represents the worst crisis, the worst situation that I lived in my life. But that was not in vain because I learned from that situation. And the most important thing, I was a time researcher before, but that uh, experience make me make me think in depth about all things in my life, all things that I was doing, all things that I must do in the future. So it helps me a lot. I think in the whole situation, it was a positive thing. Do you have any questions, Anna?
Well, I'd like to comment something about the near-death experience because I remember you as a teacher being a researcher of the near-death experience. And then all of a sudden, we are during the pandemics and you suffer a near-death experience. I mean, like it was,
Yes, it's like the helpers, the astrophysical helpers said to me, "Well, you know too many theory. Now you have to have the practice of the
yes.
near-death experience, something like that."
And now
It,
you can talk about time with a lot more propriety, right?
yeah, more propriety, more moral authority. That
Mhm.
it's very interesting. Uh, but this you can reflect of these things of consciential productivity, of your use, your utilization of your use of time without to pass through these traumatic experiences. You don't have to pass through these traumatic experiences to make redirections or recycling uh, things and facts and situations in your own life. That's the message that I would like to give you. And one interesting speech or one interesting conference that I recommend to all of you is this TED Talk. TED Talks is that program of short talks in the internet, in the YouTube, to the people of many subjects, various subjects. And one of the TED Talks is from Rick Elias. 3 things I learned while my plane crashed. It's very interesting. Rick Elias was in the front row seat in the flight 1549, that plane that crash landed in the Hudson River in New York in 2009. And he made a very good TED talk about that experience because in the minutes that he think he was going to die, uh, or he thought he was going to die, uh, uh, it was a complete life change, a mindset life change uh, for him. It's a very interesting to see his thoughts and his considerations about this. You have a QR code in this slides to locate this in YouTube. Uh, so, in a kind of synthesis, more than the speech is the schedule that reveals a person's values. this is one of the things that Norbert Elias would like to say when he said that when you stood time, you stood about yourself. For instance, let's see, you can, this is one technique also. You can call this the schedule technique of time management to see to enlist all your activities, let's say in 1 week or in 1 month, and to take notes how many hours you took with that activity. For instance, activities of health and wellness. How many hours of your week or how many hours of your month you expend doing some health or wellness activities? Because if you ask everyone about this, how important is health and wellness in your life? Everybody will say, "Oh, health and wellness is mm, too many, too much import has too much importance in my
It's
life." Okay,
like
but how
everything.
many? Yes, but that is only speech. How many time you expended in with this kind of activities? Self improvement, lifelong studies, knowledge travels, updates. How many time do you expend in this? Productive leisure also, because productive leisure is an important part of our daily activities. Professional career, how many hours do you expend on this? Volunteer work, friendships and affective relations, that's it's very important also. So you have this simple task to do. Choose an amount of time that is representative in your life, and make a, take a note of how many hours you spend, and that will say a lot about your values and about your prioritization.
It actually is going to show you how coherent you are with your priorities. Because sometimes we put like, oh, health is so important. But when you put the hours that you use doing exercise or eating healthy or going to the doctor, planning your meals, you are going to see it's so little. So you don't walk what you talk. And that's something very important about time, because it is going to show you the choices that you make for yourself. And that's where the wisdom is also going to tell you a lot about yourself, right, Amari?
Exactly, exactly. That's very important. So, each one of the things that we will show you how are your chronological lucidity, the clarity of reasoning, the hyperacuity in relation to the experience of the multidimensional hic et nunc. This is a Latin hic et nunc. It's a Latin expression that means here and now, the multidimensional here and now. The here and now, not just that of that dimension that you see, but the dimensions you are not seeing also, the things that are subtle. Uh, and chronological lucidity is related to concentrated attention in the present moment, mindfulness, the same of mindfulness. Uh, Parachronological lucidity that we have including a entry in the Encyclopedia of Conscientiology calling parachronological lucidity is when you not just consider the time in this life, but in the set of lives, the past lives and the future lives, make plannings, having retrocognitions of past experiences that are useful today. So you consider the biological periods of our consciousness, but the inter uh, intermissive periods between one life and another, also when you are in the extra physical dimension or extra physical dimensions. I have a question for all of you that are seeing this video or attending this webinar. Time is passing faster today than in your childhood. That is one thing interesting to think, because this divides the objective time and the subjective time. Uh, Time is passing faster today than in your childhood. For instance, Anna, what do you think about this? Or if you want,
I think that time is passing really fast. And by the way, I have two really interesting questions that the public sent to us. So let's see if we can maybe answer at least one of them. We have here Fred Ganen from Iguaçu, which is asking that after the pandemic, we lived under a threat of war. So how can parapsychism help you to deal with this time of uncertainty? I think it was a time that everybody had to face the mortality and our finitude. So, how do you think about this relating to time?
thank you to my friend Fred Gunning for this question. I think the parapsychism is a tool that we have to deal with these uncertainties, this anxiety of these wars and this threatening of wars that we live today, and this economical turmoil. All this make us very anxious, and parapsychism, it's a tool, or it's a resource that make us to think better, to know what is going to help, to know that we are not alone in all these situations. We are with our helpers. We are uh, these things are under supervisors of astrophysical supervisors. We know also that this is not the only planet with civilizations, and there are many civilizations throughout the universe that pass to this kind of teenage crisis for that we have today. All this is available to who for those who have parapsychism, and that is certainly useful and helpful. But coming back to that question, that if time is passing faster today or in the past, some may answer that the same 24 hours that we have in our childhood is the 24 hours in a day that we have now, and that we are focusing in the uh, objective time. But the perception of time is different nowadays. There are research in the Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in Troy, now New York, that measure this perception of time. And for a 20-year-old person, 1 year passed 8% faster at the end of the 20th century than at the end of the previous century, the 19th century. For a 35-year-old person, 1 year passed 22% faster than a century before. The perception of time is faster. And for a 60-year-old person, 1 year passed more than 7 times faster, the perception is more than 7 times faster. What is the main cause of this? Is fundamentally technology. We have now faster vehicles, faster means of communication, faster. The things are, for instance, in communication, we have instant communication nowadays. Then the perception of time also change. So time is really passing much faster today, but because the perception of time that change and change, but that's one thing that is important. The anxiety also increases. We have a pair of authors, Thomas Davenport and John Beck, in the book The Attention Economy, that say that we don't have to manage time, we have to manage attention. That's a very interesting concept and a very interesting changing of mindset. And what this author says, since few of us have a good perception of how to effectively process vast amounts of information, we are doomed to allocate our attention. We don't manage to allocate appropriately our attention. We don't know how to do that. Never in the history of mankind, the individuals are uh, bombarded with this uh, amount of information, and that information come through our cell phones, come through the notebooks, come through screens in the streets, come to our television sets. Everything bomb us with information. So we have to use techniques to deal with that, as we said before. This is in this book, the economy attention. Uh, we have this concept that we have at least six different types of attention: attractive attention, aversive attention, captive attention, voluntary attention, front of mind attention, back of mind attention. And what is that? Depending the type of attention that you are more you have the most, so the kind of things that will attract you is different. For instance, back of mind and front of mind, we see here a guy reading in a public transportation, and he is hearing some music. So it's perfectly possible to hear music while you are reading. The back of mind is on the music, and the front of mind attention is on the reading. But it's not possible for a surgeon that we see in the right photography. It's not possible that he could not listen music while he's doing this front of mind. Some people need to focus or to concentrate. If he was listening to music, he could not be making a surgery or something like that. So different activities works with that kind of different pairs of attention, like volunteer or voluntary attention and captive attention also. Here we have a school situation, and we are forced to our attention to something, and here we have a volunteer activity or voluntary activity. So you choose to put this attention, and in that one you are forced to have your attention to something. And attractive versus repulsive attention are the other pair of attentions. So why he use that because it's the basis of his attentionscape matrix. You can make a diagram with front of mind uh, and back of mind quadrants and captive or force or voluntary attention, and put your activities to see the kind of activities that are more frequent in your kind of attention that are more frequent in your activities. This will help you to understand your personality and your what kind of activities or information that are more frequent in your psyche, in your mental activities. And here we have, so we are going to the end of our webinar. Some techniques people through these years that we are going to that we studied this, and we have attended many publics speaking about time and attention management. People ask me for techniques, and there's lots of technique. If you make a if you Google and make time management techniques or attention management techniques, you will see many in our conscientiological research. Also, we have many in the Encyclopedia of Conscientiology, for instance. You have here the intellectual shift technique, the Antelucan work technique, the self-thought agenda technique, the holosomatic agenda technique that we will speak in the next slide, the concept map technique. There are many. The technique of an additional year of intraphysical life, that is a technique of priority management. There are many things you can. The reading note-taking technique for your studies, the Pomodoro technique for studies. Also, there are many, many, many time management techniques. You don't have. You will not be in difficult to find appropriate techniques to help you, and not just for time management, but for attention management also. The planning technique is a very important. Anti-dispersiveness techniques also is a very important technique for you. Okay. Holosomatic schedule technique. What is this? We have many bodies of manifestation. We have our soma, that is our physical body, this physical body, biological body. The energosoma, that is the bioenergetic soma, the bioenergetic body that also make the set that is in your manifestation. The psychosoma, that is the emotional body, and the mental soma, that is our thought or our mental body. And according to the activity that you are engaged, you are making the use of a priority of this one of the or another of these bodies. For instance, the bath is mainly you are using soma and energosoma, not the psychosoma and the mental soma are not allocated in that activity. But reading, for instance, is the opposite. The psychosoma and the mental soma you are using, but the soma is quiet in a seat or in the bed, and the neurosoma also you don't have it to put them too many life energy or consciential energy in that activity. Teaching, you have the priority of the energosoma, the psychosoma, and the mental soma, not just the soma, the physical body, so that you can make these teaching activities at distance or in a remote situation. You do a table like that, and you can see the balance of your activities. If you are prioritizing one of the bodies or the others, and you see that in a visual way, you can change your activities to make a balance, to pursue a balance in your activities. Consciousness and time. According to the conscientiology, time is an evolutionary, valuable, and useful unity of measure for the lucid consciousness. This quote is in the Existential Program Manual, and is a very good synthesis of what we are talking here today. The time is a useful unity, evolutionary unity, very valuable. So it's important to measure, to understand, to see how are you are using this resource, because it's a limited resource in our life. In this life, it's a very limited resource. And as conclusion or synthesis, the appropriate use of time involves carrying out activities, tasks, or useful work for the individual or other consciousness without losing sight of the evolutionary purpose, and within the realm of intraphysicality, the lucidity and cosmoethical responsibility regarding the finiteness of temporal resources and opportunities. We don't have all time in the world. We have a limited time resource to make everything that that we propose, we ourselves propose to do before we were born in this actual or in this uh, real period, biological period of consciousness. And a final remind: opportunities don't happen; you create them. That's it. And in a very proactive way. The opportunities only appear to those who are prepared to take the opportunities, not to just let it go. This is a very important, and I think is a very synthetic quote that synthesizes the uh, consciential productivity that we are talking about this day.
We have a
Uh,
last question here.
let's see.
In your point of view, parachronological intelligence could be considered a module in the set of human multiple intelligences?
Yes, exactly, and it's a let's say a very important intelligence, meta intelligence, as we said,
Mm-hmm.
because it's an intelligence that develop other intelligence. For instance, if you organize your time, your schedule, you can put the developing of other intelligence that you judge that it is important for you.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, I would like to develop my polyglotism. I think it's important for my evolution and the evolution of other people that I would speak many languages, other languages, for instance. So I will learn this other language. Uh, of course, nowadays we have technology that is helping
Help
us.
a lot,
We have
yeah.
artificial intelligence that will help us a lot. But to learn another language is to make an immersion in other cultures. We are learning also to understand how other cultures and other people live and how they think and how they the culture is. So it's important to know, and this will help us to develop empathy also, to develop
Sensitivity.
sensitivity and means
Mhm.
to relate,
Interact better.
interact, and relate better. Yes.
Mhm. Yes, I think it would be kind of together with the cultural intelligence, right? Because when you have that notion that you have a way of choose better how you apply your time to your priorities, you can also make a connection in a better way with the other person, because there are so many times that the golden rule does not apply. Doing what I expect is not what the other person is going to be expecting, especially in a different culture. So this, if we started talking, we would go so much longer with this presentation that we would take 3 or 4 hours. And
Yes.
I do appreciate Amaury taking the time, and I know that he's a very, very busy man, and he's here with us today. It was such a treat to be able to be here watching you teach us again. Okay, and
You, I,
we
I, I appreciate and I am honored to this invitation. I would just like to talk about an activity that we will have in Communicons next week, next weekend, and it's the week of the communicology. Uh, that is, it's the it's held in Portuguese, the activities, but those who want to participate of this week, it's dedicated to the themes of communicology. We are talking about chronemics, that it's a kind of study that involves time and communication. That chronemics studies, for instance, how we behave in with our time through our communication. For instance, some cultures, when you make an appointment, it's important to start in the sharp at the time that you are appointed. In other cultures, that it was not so important, and so this talks about a little bit how we behave in matter of time. For instance, how we communicate of our time. So we are going to have laboratories, we are going to have field course, and we are going to have workshops. We are going to have short courses. So everyone is invited. Some of these activities are online, and some of these are presential in Foz do Iguaçu, in Iguaçu Falls here in Brazil. But everyone is invited if you want to participate.
thank you very much. And I also would like to make a special invitation here, because we are going to have the course Consciousness, Fundamental on Consciousness Evolution, which is a course that is going to have a hybrid form. It has some parts that are going to be presential, other ones are going to be online. And I don't know when we are going to have this course again in the US. So I would encourage you guys to make yourself available for this. It approaches various items and various topics of conscientiology, and it's going to happen in August. We are planning this with a lot of work, and I believe it's going to be a great course. Other than that, we have the next webinar that is going to happen in the third Sunday of the month. It's going to be overcoming the the challenge of writing a scientific article with Alicia Decker. It's going to happen on May 19th, in 2 weekends. And again, thank you so much for your attention, and thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be here with Amaury today.
Thank you, representation. Thank you all.
Okay, bye-bye.